The punishment for Jeff Ulbrich and the Atlanta Falcons is in after the Shedeur Sanders prank call gate. Plus, Drake London got some great news today. But really quick, it is the last day of the month, and we have closed the gap on Saints Now in subscribers thanks to over 100 subs yesterday. So join the channel today if you hate the Aints. The NFL has levied a $250,000 fine against the Atlanta Falcons, along with a $100,000 fine against Atlanta's defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, as a response to the Shedeur Sanders prank call scandal gate during the NFL draft. So let's talk about this one final time, and then we'll put it to bed for the rest of time. But I feel like this is I wouldn't say fair punishment, but an understandable punishment. The Atlanta Falcons let private, sensitive information get out to someone outside of their walls. And as a result, I don't see why the NFL doesn't take, appropriate response to that. I think failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential information distributed to the club in advance of the NFL draft is a fair enough, crime to have a punishment for. So I don't have a big issue with the Falcons getting fined here. Sure, I don't think Arthur Blank or Terry Fontenot or Raheem Morris are responsible for this whatsoever. Their defensive coordinator had his iPad looked at by his son. I don't know what training or what practices, the Falcons could have put in place to prevent this from happening other than putting passwords on their iPads, which I'm sure they already do. And I'm sure that Jax Ulbrich just knew his dad's iPad password, and that's how he got on with this premeditated idea of let's prank call Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft. I feel bad for Jeff Ulbrich because I don't really know what he could have done other than just hide his iPad when he's at home. But I can tell you this much, Jax, his son, is about to get a lot of BTA, belt to ass. $100,000 sounds like chump change to us when it comes to the NFL salary scale. But for a defensive coordinator, they don't make millions of dollars. They might make $1 million, $2 million in a year, but they're not making wide receiver quarterback money. So $100,000 removed from their pay stub, that's a lot of money right there. So I expect Jax Ulbrich to be mowing the lawn for the rest of time and probably not getting an allowance for a long time as well, and a good chance he's going to be paying his own fraternity dues at Ole Miss this upcoming semester. I also like that in the Falcons statement regarding this situation, they accepted the punishment. I think they just want to move on, and they're probably mortified that their employee is, tied up in this entire thing. But I like how they said, additionally, the Ulbrich family is working with the organization to participate in community service initiatives. I like to think this is like the scene out of Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby's kids are picking up trash on the side of the highway. So next time you're going down I-85 or you're going around the perimeter, just look for Jax Ulbrich picking up trash along the highway because that's what I interpret of community services initiatives. Final thoughts, though, and then we'll move on altogether here. I don't think this has been as big of a deal as people have made it out to be. And I say that for one factual reason and just one, personal, not personal, but one subjective reason. Factual reason is other players were prank called. And no one seems to be making much of a fuss about Tyler Warren, the Colts tight end, getting prank called by the New York Jets. So I feel like there are a lot of media members who, A, are protective of Shedeur Sanders, and B, have sympathy for Shedeur Sanders that he slid to day 5 of the NFL draft and are deploying a lot of reasons for that, as it could be race-related, it could be some type of bias towards him, and they go, the fact that this happened on top of all that, we need outrage here. Guys, Shedeur was not murdered by Jax. It was a prank call. I'm going to go against the grain a little bit here and say it's not a nothing burger, but this is not something where jobs have to be lost over like a lot of people have suggested. Matthew Berry said the entire Ulbrich family is responsible. Huh? What did Mrs. Ulbrich do to be a partner in crime for this year? Jax Ulbrich made a dumb decision, a bad, horrible, whatever you want to call it, decision, and he should be punished by his family for it. But this is not some major scandal where there needs to be jobs lost and reform brought on. It was a prank call. So, yeah, I don't think this is the end of the world as a lot of people have made it out to be. I'll end it with that. Let's talk about a better topic in terms of news for the Falcons. And it is Drake London got his fifth-year option picked up by Atlanta, and a no-brainer. This was not something that surprised any of us. The deadline is May 1st, so we were creeping up towards it, and a lot of times for, I think, really no good reason, teams just put this off a little bit. I mean, the Falcons knew on January 1st they were going to pick up his fifth-year option, but the fifth-year option for 2026 is $16.8 million. It is a fully guaranteed one-year deal, more or less. It is the simplest time in the NFL world when it comes to contracts. Like, if you cut Drake London, you owe him $16.8 million. If you trade Drake London, you owe the next team $16.8 million. You know what I mean? Like, this is the only time when contracts are very black and white. But none of that's going to happen. I'm just bringing it up to say this is the rare example of contracts don't become super complex and confusing, which is nice to see every so often. London comes off a phenomenal season for Atlanta last year. I mean, career highs in receptions, targets, yards, and touchdowns to go along with it, which shouldn't be, that huge of a surprise given when you give him a real quarterback to work with and not Mariota or Desmond Ridder. He can put up real productive top 10 type of production that you see from a wide receiver. But I'll go one step further and say I think Atlanta should extend Drake London this offseason. Doesn't have to be today, doesn't have to be tomorrow, but I think that we have seen enough from London to go, this is a player who you want on your roster for a second contract. Can we agree on that? Now, we can disagree on what he's worth, but I think I've seen through 3 seasons enough to go, I would like Drake London to be in Atlanta for another 4 years on top of the 5 years he gets from his rookie deal. And I don't want to see Atlanta drag their feet and be the next Cincinnati Bengals, the next Dallas Cowboys, a team that has to pay their receiver, has to pay their player way more than they could have or way more than they should or would have if they got it done earlier. And that's what happened to Cincinnati here, who dragged their feet on a Chase and T. Higgins extension and then ended up paying way north than they could have, paid or would have paid, like I said, if they got it done 12 months earlier. Now, I don't think London is going to get top 5 receiver money. I'm just showing you guys the top 10 highest paid receivers as a point of reference. But I think with the salary cap ballooning up and Drake London coming off a strong year, if you gave him an offer of 4 years, $114 million, that is $28.5 million a season, putting him just ahead of Jalen Waddle, making him the 10th highest paid receiver, I think he would take that deal. You take $114 million, you guarantee about $60-ish million, so a little over 50%. And London might go, hey, you know what? After coming off an awesome year, I'm going to bet on myself and say no thanks to this offer right now. And next year, that $114 million will turn into $125, $130 million. But he also might go, you're offering me $60 million guaranteed to sign this piece of paper right now. I'm not going to think twice about it because I don't know if I'll get injured. I don't know if my quarterback will stink next year, if Michael Penix gets injured, and I don't get 1,000 yards, and that $114 million drops down to $90 million. So I think it's in the Falcons' best interest long-term to get this done now. I think London is ascending. I think he is a bona fide star receiver in the making. I am a believer in London, and I think it is in the Falcons' best interest to lock him down now at a more affordable rate than if you let him play another year and he puts up even better production in year 4, and that $28.5 million turns into 31, 32, 33 million. And now you're talking nearly top 5 highest paid receivers in football. Would love for him to get all the money he deserves, but if you are the Falcons, I think it is in your best interest to extend him now and give yourself some future savings so you don't become the next Bengals or Cowboys who waited on a Jamar Chase, CD Lamb extension, and had they gotten it done earlier, it would have cost the team way less. All right, let me ask you this question before we get to some final closing thoughts and just housekeeping items. Drake London, is he a wide receiver one? Let me know in the comment section. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. I think he is. I think he's just been slept on for one of two reasons. One, Falcons haven't really played a whole lot of primetime games up until this past season, so he doesn't really fall into the national relevancy. Two, he's had horrible quarterback play for much of his entire NFL career. Mariota, Ritter, one half of good Kirk Cousins. So, he put up some really solid numbers, and I feel like if he just had even an average quarterback for all 17 games, he would put up 1,300 yards and 10 to 12 touchdowns. All right, before we sign off, quick reminder that Fanatics has a Jalen Walker jersey and a James Pierce jersey available for pre-order. Go to chatsports.com/ATL rookies. If you want to get a Falcons rookie jersey, use this link to support the channel. Once they announce the number, they'll ship that jersey out to you. Okay, we're going to do a quick wheel spin here, but I did want to just verbalize all the players who have had their fifth-year options exercised now. So Derek Stingley, Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, Sauce Gardner, Kayvon Thibodeau, Ike Mekwonu, Charles Cross, interesting, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, Jordan Davis, Trent McDuffie, Tyler Smith, Jermaine Johnson, George Karlaftis, Dax Hill. Interesting. Here are the players that would decline. So those are all accepted. Decline. Evan Neal stinks out loud. Trevor Penning has not been healthy. Kenny Pickett has been on 3 different teams. And then TBD now, Kyle Hamilton, he'll get his done. Kenyon Green, he was traded from Houston to Philly. They're not going to pick up his. Jahan Dotson was traded from the Commanders to the Eagles. They're not going to pick up his. Zion Johnson from the Chargers. I don't think they're going to pick up his. Traylon Burks, absolutely not. Quay Walker, I think will get his picked up. Kaiir Elam, traded already. He's not going to get his. Tyler Linderbaum has been a 2-time Pro Bowler. He'll get his picked up. Devin Lloyd by the Jags. Could go either way. I think he will. Devontae Wyatt could go either way. Cole Strange is not. So there it is. Let's do a quick wheel spin before we sign off. Just shout out to those of you at the end of yesterday's video for getting an emoji in the comment section. And shout out to, it's Corey, I think. Corey in the house. Shout out to you. 2 claps for Corey. 1, 2. I'll see everyone later.